He didn't want to bother anyone, just to look at an old rifle he had once carried long before most of them were even born. But the salesman laughed at his questions, mocked his limp, called him Grandpa, and told him to leave. The old man didn't argue. He fell silent as he always did and walked away step by step. What the salesman didn't know was that the name on this man's identification still carried weight, and exactly 1 hour later an entire Navy SEAL team pulled into the parking lot. No sirens, no warnings. Just a dozen men who entered the shop in perfect unison, completely silent, and asked a single question. Where is he? Welcome to a story about disrespect, loyalty, and reckoning. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, what city are you watching this from? And if you believe true warriors never forget their brothers, hit that subscribe button for Heartstring Radio. These stories matter. The gun shop sat on the city's outskirts, wedged between a fishing store and an ironware warehouse. Its tinted windows were just dark enough to evade scrutiny. Inside, rifles lined the walls like trophies, and the glass cases displayed pistols so polished they looked artificial. Behind the counter, 2 young salesmen hunched over their phones, barely, distracted by the country music humming from the ceiling speakers. The shop wasn't busy. It didn't need to be. This was the kind of business that thrived on reputation. At exactly 10:43 a.m., the front door chimed. The man who entered drew no attention. He simply existed in a way that made the room grow quieter. Worn-out boots, patched jeans, a brown leather jacket older than half the staff. His face was weathered but calm, his eyes sharp beneath the brim of a faded Navy SEAL cap. He moved slowly, deliberately, his limp noticeable but never exaggerated. He didn't glance around, just walked straight to the counter, rested his hand gently on the glass, and waited. One of the salesmen looked up with a forced smile. "Can I help you, sir?" The old man gave a single nod. "Yes. Do you still have the M1 Garand replica on the back wall? The one with the real wood stock?" The younger salesman blinked. "That's a collector's item, not really meant for shooting." "I didn't ask if I could shoot it," the man replied calmly. "I just wanted to hold it. It's been decades since I last touched one." The second salesman, slightly older, chuckled. "That rifle's heavier than it looks, Gramps. Might be rough on your back." The old man didn't smile. "I carried one through the jungle. I can manage a showroom." The mood shifted instantly. The first salesman laughed too loudly. "All right, Rambo. If you're not buying, you're just blocking the shop. Let the real customers in." The second added, "Yeah, we're not a museum." The old man hesitated. For a moment it seemed he might say something, maybe remind them who he was. But instead he lowered his gaze, nodded to himself, and simply said, "Understood." Then he turned and walked out. No argument, no anger, no demand to speak to the manager. Just a man alone again, fading back into a country that had forgotten the sacrifices men like him had made. Inside, the salesmen returned to their phones. Neither noticed the woman by the ammunition shelf, wearing a gym shirt from the 1930s, her cap pulled low, silently observing the scene. 2 minutes later, she slipped outside, pulled out a phone, and made a single call. She spoke 3 words. He was here. At 11:43 a.m., the parking lot began to fill, but not with customers. A matte black SUV pulled up near the entrance, engine idling. Then another, then a third. No music, no movement, just silent machines with darkened windows and unreadable intentions. Inside, the salesman kept joking, kept scrolling, oblivious to the shift in the air outside. Then the SUV doors opened, 3 at once, and 12 men stepped out. Their movements were measured, unhurried, yet carried a weight that commanded attention. Some wore civilian clothes, others expedition uniforms, but none needed identifiers. Their posture, their eyes, the way they scanned the street, it all betrayed who they were. They crossed the sidewalk in silence and entered the shop one by one. The door chime rang softly, yet even that sound felt different now. Not a word was spoken. They fanned out in a semicircle before the counter. The younger salesman, slouched on a stool, barely glanced up from his phone. "Welcome, guys. Looking For something specific? Then he raised his head and froze. 12 men, dead silent, staring straight through him. The oldest among them, gray-haired, jaw set, a chest full of ribbons, stepped forward. His voice was quiet but carried the force of a hammer. An hour ago, one of ours walked through that door. The second salesman, the one who had cracked the joke, shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, I think there's been a—" The SEAL cut him off with a look. He didn't come for praise, didn't want recognition. Just wanted to see a rifle he hadn't held since Vietnam. And your people laughed, called him Grandpa, threw him out. He placed something on the counter, a folded, tattered flag. He pulled this from my uniform when I was bleeding out in Helmand, carried me 22 hours on foot, no radio, no backup, a fist-sized hole in his side. Never asked for thanks, never spoke about it. But today, you treated him like a nuisance. The younger salesman swallowed hard, shifting his weight as if ready to bolt. The SEAL didn't move. We're not here for revenge. We don't need an apology. But he won't speak for himself, so we'll speak for him. Another SEAL stepped forward and placed a photograph on the glass counter. 8 men, arms draped over each other's shoulders, covered in dust and sunburn, but smiling. The man in the center, younger then but unmistakable, was the same one they'd turned away an hour earlier. The salesman's lips parted. I didn't know. The lead SEAL nodded slowly. Exactly. You didn't ask. No threats. No demands. Just the weight of truth. Then, the first man turned. The others followed. 12 men left the shop the same way they'd entered. Without a word. Without a glance. Leaving behind a silence no bullet could ever pierce. Outside, a small crowd had gathered. Not out of curiosity, but instinct. Phones were raised, not to film, but to remember. Just in case anyone ever forgot what this felt like. The SEALs didn't acknowledge them. They didn't need to. One by one, they climbed into their vehicles and drove off as if nothing had happened, but something had happened. Because the air inside the shop never settled back to normal. The salesman sank onto his stool, staring at the photograph. For the first time, he understood. He hadn't just thrown out an old man. He'd thrown out history. And now, the world would learn exactly who they'd sent away. The aftermath by 1:45 p.m. The photo had already gone viral across 3 veteran Facebook groups. A customer had snapped it moments after the SEALs entered. 12 men standing in perfect silence, their presence too powerful to ignore. The caption was simple. Disrespect a SEAL, and you answer to all of them. At first, people didn't understand. The post was shared, flagged with emojis, dissected in comments. Then someone asked, who was the old man they stood for? And everything changed. At 2:12 p.m., a name surfaced in the comments. James C. Beckett. A man seen around town for years but who rarely spoke. Always polite, always alone, always wearing the same faded SEAL Team 3 cap. No one had ever asked what it meant, until now. A commenter wrote, "That's Beckett. Saved my uncle's unit in Panama. Never talked about it, not once." Another added, "If that's him, we're talking about a legend, the kind they don't put in headlines." Someone dug deeper, unearthing a military file buried in archives. Master Chief Special Warfare Operator James Charles Beckett. SEAL Team 3, enlisted 1966, retired 2004, Bronze Star, Silver Star, Purple Heart, multiple classified ops, Vietnam, Mogadishu, Panama, Iraq, 35 plus, confirmed extractions under fire, no memoirs, no interviews, just decades of silence and a lifetime of doing what others wouldn't. By 3 p.m., local news picked up the story under the headline, Silent Visit. 12 Navy SEALs enter gun shop to honor veteran. No drama, no spin, just facts. A man walked in. He was turned away. An hour later, a team arrived, and a forgotten hero became a symbol of everything we've lost. Inside the shop, the employees hadn't spoken in over an hour. The photograph remained on the counter. 8 young men in a desert, sunburned and Grinning, Beckett at the center with a half-smile that said nothing and everything. Customers didn't ask for ammo anymore. They asked, "Who's the man in the photo? Will he come back?" An older Marine veteran walked in, stared at the image for a full minute, saluted, and left without a word. By 4 p.m., a veteran's blog post went live. "Those who stand when you're gone." Its final line would be quoted 1,000 times. James Beckett didn't need to speak. His silence was carried by 12 voices who chose to be silent with him. The reckoning back at the shop, the manager arrived, phone buzzing with the viral photo. The folded flag left on the counter still lay untouched. He didn't yell, didn't fire anyone. He just walked to the display, pulled out the M1 Garand Beckett had asked to see, and placed it beside the photograph. Then, he scribbled a note and framed it. He once carried this. Now, we carry the memory. Outside, someone left a single white flower by the door. Then, a challenge coin. Then a folded slip of paper with one word, respect. A crowd gathered not to protest but to witness. No chants. No cameras shoved in faces, just silence. The kind that says more than headlines ever could. As for Beckett, he never acknowledged the storm. No interviews, no posts. He didn't even know the internet had crowned him a hero. He just went home the same way he came, ignored. Except now when people passed him on the street, they didn't look past him. They looked twice, because the city finally understood who they'd tried to dismiss and who had answered in his place. The legacy in the days that followed, something shifted, not loudly but deeply. The gun shop was no longer just a store. It became a place of remembrance. Veterans came not to buy gear, but to leave tokens beside Beckett's photo. High school students wrote letters asking to meet him. He never responded, but a week later, the principal received an anonymous envelope containing a handwritten account of a 1970 rescue mission. No signature. Just 6 names of men who lived because of him. The shop's owner encased the folded flag in glass, adding a plaque, "For the man we didn't recognize, and the brothers who wouldn't let us forget." The story spread through forums, then radio, then quiet conversations in barbershops and diners. This wasn't a protest, wasn't a spectacle. It was something purer, men standing for one of their own without saying a word. And the message landed. 2 weeks later, the SEALs returned. Not to the shop, but to Beckett's usual diner. They didn't announce themselves, didn't ask for attention. One by one, they filed into the back booth where he sat alone, coffee in hand. He glanced up, met their eyes, and for a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then the youngest of them, a SEAL who hadn't been born when Beckett, retired, spoke. "Sir, mind if we join you?" Beckett nodded once. They filled the booth in silence, and for the next hour the diner stayed hushed, because some voices don't need volume to be heard. The truth, some men don't demand respect. They don't need titles or parades, they do what must be done, then fade into the quiet. James Beckett didn't come to that shop to be thanked. He didn't need reminders of his worth. He already knew who he was. What mattered was that his brothers knew too, that when the world turned its back, they didn't arrive with outrage, but with presence. That's loyalty. That's brotherhood. That's the code that isn't printed on banners or screamed in speeches. It's carried in silence, one act at a time. Most people wouldn't have noticed the old man with the limp and the faded cap, but 12 SEALs did. Now, so do we. Your turn ever met someone like Chief Beckett? Someone who served, sacrificed, and never asked for praise? Say his name in the comments, tell his story. Speak the words he never would, because men like him deserve to be remembered. If this story moved you, subscribe to Heartstring Radio. We're here to make sure the silent heroes are seen. Their silence was earned. Now, it's our turn to speak. See you in the next story. And until then, if you ever see an old man standing quietly in a shop, a diner, or a park, don't ask what he did. Just give him space. He's already done enough.